Hi guys, welcome you all again to our live. We will be talking about stone in residential facade and interiors, and we have Anika Mittal with us from Mold Design Studio to have a quick chat on the same. So I am waiting for Anika to join us quickly so that we can give you all the insights about stones in residential facade and interiors. You will have to allow me some time so that meanwhile Anika could join us. She is an architect who is very renowned and has over 15 years of experience. She is also going to talk about a lot of interesting residential, characteristics of facades, as well as anything that you all would like her to answer. So quickly, I think Anika is here with us and she's joining. I'm not going to let you all wait for a long time. Hi, Anika, how are you?
Good, how are you?
All well. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, and I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are. So quickly, I'll give a small brief about Mold and Anika to all our audience. So Mold Design Studio is a multidisciplinary practice which is based out in New Delhi, and it provides all solutions across architecture, urban design, interior design, and product design. I hope I'm right.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
So Anika is an architect and an urban designer with over more than 15 years of experience in design and construction industry in India as well as in UK, right? So how
Yes.
has experience been, especially in India or overseas in UK?
So overseas was mostly education. I was doing my master's in design there,
Okay.
and honestly, everybody has to experience getting out once for
Sure.
whatever reason. Because I think the exposure is what really makes a difference. Any type of exposure. It's not necessarily if you're studying or if you're working. I personally think it's a great thing to have that exposure. And then I worked there for a bit, but then I was back. There I had some issues, so I was back, and I've been working ever. I don't think there's been a day when I haven't been working. So, and it's great. The opportunity in India is huge. You know, like that's a big plus point that we have definitely over working abroad. That we can do, we can start on our own and do our own work. So creative freedom expression is obviously easier.
Great. So today we will be discussing about stones in residential facade. And to start with, my first question to you would be, what is your criteria for picking up stones for residential interior spaces? A lot of people face a lot of problems, especially even a layman who's designing their own house also. So what are the characteristics they should be looking at, or you as, who's experienced and specialized into this industry, what are the basic characteristics that you look at?
So, the first thing when you're obviously working on any project and residential project also is the first thing any designer is going to look at is the aesthetic part of it, how it appears. So, whether
Mhm.
you for a neutral palette, whether you want to do a dramatic palette, how you want the space to be,
Look like.
to so the appearance of the stone, what color you're looking at, what grain you're looking at, is the first. But once you're past that, you'll be looking at things like the thickness of the stone, because the lesser the thickness, the cracks might come more often, or the durability is more if the thickness is slightly more. Obviously it increases in cost, but it's definitely worth that money. Then, depending on where you're using it, whether you're using it on a flooring or on a wall or on a facade, you will definitely be looking at porosity, because some of the stones are a little more porous than the others, and so therefore you will make that choice depending on where you're using it. And then obviously you should look at how many cracks are there in that slab, or holes, and how much filling has been done, because that will just in general give you the right perception about that particular piece of stone. So I think
Right.
those starting criteria for how you will choose your stone.
Okay, I've noticed a lot of times a lay person who doesn't know a lot of details about these things, they usually look at colors and just the durability of the stone. Do you think that is more than enough, or we should look at some other aspects also, like you mentioned?
See, they should definitely, all stones are durable. That's not the issue. So, appearance is the first thing because it's natural that you look at what it looks like. But
Right.
beyond that, definitely look at the thickness because a lot of people are selling 15 or 16 mm, and if you can get 18 or 20, it's definitely better because it'll be stronger.
Yeah.
So, and I would recommend that they should look at porosity. You should at least ask the vendor because they will tell them, you know,
Okay.
stone is a
Okay.
bit porous or it needs, it needs a coat of some treatment or something. Because some of the Indian stones, sandstones are all the sandstones are mostly porous. So
Right.
vertical surface is still better, but on a floor it might need a sealer or something like that.
Right. Right. No, I think what you're saying about porosity, I think it definitely matters. Some or the other way, it does.
Yeah, and they should just have a, if they are not, don't have a designer on board, it's definitely worth just having a conversation with the dealer. Like
Right.
where it from, they'll be more than happy to take you, explain you what it is. Most of them at least, I would
Right,
think.
right. So, how do you think one use of stone for different spaces, whether they are horizontal like floors or vertical like, for the facades used in residentials?
Sorry.
How do you think one can use stones in different spaces, whether it's a horizontal, which is like a floor, or could be in vertical spaces or vertical facades like in residences?
Yeah.
So,
So
how?
is actually a very very versatile material in terms of like usage, and it's been there in our culture forever, and we have the craftsmanship for it. As a as a country, we have the karigars which are available
Yeah.
easily. They know what the job is, and it's so versatile. It can be done in different permutation combinations, different places. Definitely definitely we are also using it in facades and walls and flooring. But you can also, there's so much permutation that you can do within the walls and the floors. You can highlight a wall by doing two stones or different textures in stones, or you can even go three dimension with stone, which is very interesting. So
Yeah.
you find patterns, uh, texture, color, even the dimension, and you can highlight it with different types of lighting, like it could be backlit. So it could be really a neutral situation, or it could also be a statement piece. Also, people are now even, it's not just limited to actually floors, walls. It's there in the furniture. It's there in things like counters. Of course they're there, but even things like wash basins, there's so many things that you can actually use stone for. And
Right.
it in this understated or overstated, whatever you like, luxury factor which is there, and it's low on maintenance, so it's definitely a go-to material for a
So,
lot of.
do you think that like in today's time in 21st century when we talk about trends, so
Yeah.
is stone has also become a part of residential interior trends like any other material?
Stone, I personally feel stone never went out of fashion. It's never going to go out of fashion because it's always been there. And
Right.
it's one of those things that I feel like it only changes in character or technology, or in the way you use it over the years. Only used in changed in that, but
Mhm.
it's always been there. If you see culturally, we've always had it: palaces, forts,
Yeah.
older buildings. It's the way you can use bigger pieces now. So it's the technology, or it's the availability, or uh, it's the different patterns depending on how the style is changing. you
Mhm.
know whether you're going bold or whether you're going neutrals, or that style might keep changing,
Okay.
but evolving in terms of how many more things you can do with it. So I feel definitely it's not going anywhere anytime.
I think you're right. It always has been evergreen and it will stay that way.
Yeah, if you see, even earlier people used to do marble flooring. Even
Yeah.
now they do. It's just the way we do it has changed, or maybe the availability of a certain material has changed.
Mhm.
That everybody has always thought that marble or stone is very luxury. It's like the luxury factor.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. And especially if we talk about, facades in particular, what are the things or, say important points that one should take care while using stones for especially external spaces, considering the weather conditions in India?
So I think facade is very often used in, stone is very often used in facades. It's always, and it create, people associate it with a feeling of permanence, that it's like this sturdy material that we are putting on the facade, and it's very, low maintenance, and we can just, clean it, and it's going to stand the test of time.
Yeah.
So also been using materials on the facade like stone cladding and all. But the thing with facade stone is that you should definitely look at how you're using it. That's the most important thing. What
Okay.
thickness you're using, you should use a slightly thicker stone so that it can stand the weather conditions. The
Mm-hmm.
other thing is that earlier we used to only do like wet cladding, and you used to see smaller pieces of stone, really small. So the wet cladding used to be there, or you would see those screws on top of stones to hold them together, because the worry was always that it's going to fall on you.
Right.
So now that system has changed, and everybody is kind of doing dry cladding system, where between the wall and the stone cladding there is a gap in the middle. It's like an air cavity.
Mm-hmm.
It has a metal frame that supports the bolts, and the members support the stone. So now the stone has become much safer in terms of that, and the cavity is obviously helping create some thermal insulation and acoustic insulation. But also you have to make sure that it's properly drained, because there'll be moisture inside this cavity, obviously, because our weather is such. We have summers, winters, rainy season, at least in Delhi, but
Right.
all places have at least two seasons, right? So the variation is the one that we have to be careful about. So all the expansion, contraction, the grooves have to be correct. The drainage for the moisture has to be there. There has to be some sort of ventilation through the grooves, or through some other, design element, or whatever one is thinking of. So I think it's important to take care of all the technical parts when you're doing, the designing of a stone facade, and taking care of all these things. That's
Right.
what's going to, avoid all the weather related issues.
Fair
And
enough.
doing facade, you have to look at lighting.
Yeah.
Actually, that's interiors or exterior anywhere, but lighting would really change the character of of any stone. During the day when there's sunlight, it's a different look. In the evening when there's artificial, it's going to be a totally different look. So it totally highlights the material.
Right, right. So, like, I've noticed in last two questions you've provided so many solutions. You always believe in providing design solutions at every stage. So, one of the important stage of a project in construction, what would that be? If that is stone, or if that is sustainability aspect, and if somebody is trying to buy any stone and make sure that there is no wastage, so how would that be?
Yeah, sustainability wise, of course, wastage is a very critical issue. So
Mhm.
one thing, if you're talking about sustainability, I mean, obviously you should try and source a local material,
Yeah.
which a lot of times, because of what you're looking for. But if you can, and if you're going for a slightly understated look, you can definitely use a local material. Then the other thing is, when you're looking at when you're designing your floor, the joints and all of those, you can then discuss it with the person, the karigar, and see what stone slab sizes you actually need, rather than just, you know, buying a random size and then having wastage. Or you can reverse it and have, you know, work out the sizes based on the slab sizes, so you can, you know, work around that. Plus, obviously, at the time of construction, you really have to make sure that the detailing of the junctions, the, you know, how the precision is going to make all the difference of a stone, because you
Right.
can get some good detailing in stone. It's really one of the bonus points of having stone. You can
Yes.
get, you know, jointless floors. You
Mm-hmm.
can get amazing junctions. You can do bookmarking, which is like, you know, the grain of the stone goes from one end to the other. So
Interesting.
that really, you know, that really brings out the material, and, you know, it gives it the value that it deserves, I feel. Yeah, so definitely looking at those things will make a difference. Any type of detailing, you know, can
Right.
really create the whole material and the interiors.
Right. You were talking about sizes of the stone.
Yeah.
So, what an ideal size that you would like to recommend to the audience?
You know, there's no ideal size, but the most easily available size that you get most of the times through the vendor is a 4 feet by 8 feet slab base. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what they have mostly available.
Okay.
So that's, I think that's the standard size that is usually there.
So, people should ideally look for 4 by 8 size.
Yeah, I mean, that is what they will get mostly in the
Most.
market. Yeah.
Right.
And of course, if it depends on where you're going, you could get a different size if you're looking specifically for a size to avoid wastage.
Right. Right. Okay. And like we also spoke about patterns and textures, and we see there are so many patterns and textures that are available in stones. Why don't
Sorry.
we take stones and patterns for their design?
Sorry, can you just repeat the last bit of the?
I just mentioned that there are so many patterns and textures available that anybody can go, and they can figure out as to what they want to pick. But what would be the ideal way of playing with stones and textures in their design? Be it on the floor, be it on the wall, or be it even on the furniture piece.
See, there is no ideal way as such. It's what you're designing. You could do whether it's a floor or a wall. Floor specifically, you can do things like inlay, definitely. You can highlight the edges, you can highlight the center, you can create a carpet. So you can do it with two materials, or you can do it with you can insert a metal in a stone. So, or you can do two stones. You can even do a combination of stone with tiles. So, on the flooring, you can't go 3 dimension, because you obviously have to make sure that it's maintenance free. But
Right,
obviously, doors you can explore different textures, like you can do a honed or a sandblasted or a leather finish, just to avoid the polished look. When you're doing walls, there's just endless possibilities. You can create patterns through 3 dimension. You can literally do any pattern that you're thinking in your mind now. There are a lot of people doing a lot of different techniques, and so you can obviously do the things that you're doing on the floor, on the walls also, but the 3 dimension aspect really adds to that. You can
right.
even ones that are can be backlit to
Mhm.
highlight. So I think the options are quite vast when it comes to the wall treatments. Yeah.
Right. So, like you've spoken so much about stone, what would be your choice of stone?
Oh, that's very tricky. See,
So, because
personally, I,
stone
I, yeah,
is a percent,
yeah.
and might be one stone that as a designer and as an expert in the industry you would always want to pick that up, and you are like, okay, this is something that will go anywhere and everywhere.
So if it was a Italian, I would anytime go to and choose a travertine, because it has this slightly rustic look. I don't personally. I find polished looks very clean, but they really work well for luxurious, getting that luxury
Right,
factor. And
right.
otherwise, like if I had to go for an Indian stone, there is even something as simple as kota or a teak, like a Jaisalmer teak or something, really, really brings out, the earthy
Yeah.
factor. And I feel like the earthy modern rustic is what I personally really
Right.
like. And
Okay.
also,
Okay.
yeah, even at Mold when we are working, I mean, if the clients are open to the idea, we like the idea of bringing in a little bit of Indian to the
Mm-hmm.
modern style, because I think we can't lose touch with the fact that we live in India, and so it's so versatile and it's so culturally strong that we
Absolutely.
shouldn't ignore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
We have one question here from Arya asking, how is rain screen important for stone facades?
So rain screen is like what the one that I have explained, where you have that gap in the middle. So
Yeah.
I already kind of explained that system, where it's important to make sure that there's moisture is taken care of, and different weather conditions, ventilation's taken care of, expansion contraction of the stone is taken care of. So when you have so much of weather changes, then you have to make sure that you take care of all these elements.
Right. Any few tips to make sure that your flooring or your stone is maintained, like a one or two tip to all the audience?
I think usually stone doesn't really need that much maintenance if you're really taking care of it. Most
Yeah.
of the definitely put a sealer on top just to make sure that even if there's a slight porosity or stain, then that doesn't happen. Other than that, I think after a lots of years, you can obviously get it grinded so that you
Yeah.
get it look again. So that's a plus point in stone, because everybody feels like once they get the grinding done, they can it starts shining like new
Yes, absolutely.
with
Yeah.
any other material. So yeah.
Yeah. One more question from Chestu saying best way to do stone cladding on the wall would be.
It depends what you're doing it on. If you're doing it on external walls, or if you're doing it on walls. If you're doing it on internal walls, wet cladding is fine. Obviously, if you are trying to do backlighting or putting a LED, then you need to do a framework behind it, just to make sure that the light fitting is there. And
Right.
if you do external surfaces, again, if it's a small short wall, if the height isn't too much, then you can do wet cladding. Otherwise, like I said, dry cladding is the go-to system now.
Any but like I would like to add one more question to this. Any particular height that we should keep in mind if you're doing any outdoor facades, or it can just be up to us?
Beyond a ground floor now, dry cladding is a better way to go, because even if a stone falls from first floor,
Yeah.
you you don't want that in your, you just want to make sure that it's completely stable. So it's
Right.
a better system to go for
Hmm.
now, but it's more expensive. So sometimes people, even if it's just ground and first, sometimes people still go ahead and do wet cladding, because dry cladding works out to be a little more expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think anybody is going to be suggesting wet cladding anymore after
Okay.
first. Yeah.
We've also, seen that you are an urban designer and you have been designing a lot of external spaces as well, and you've spoken also so much about it. So, any stone recommendations, especially for outdoors?
So outdoors, Kota works very well, of course, and it's one of the readily available materials. You can get it in different finishes. So for outdoors, you can sandblast it or hone it, or get that a slightly rustic look for the outdoors.
Mhm.
You must have seen, like, everywhere you can use granite, which is again a very, very sturdy material, and you get it
Right.
in colors. The good thing is you get it in different colors, and then again you can do different textures on it for outdoors. So I
Mhm.
think materials which are easily available and are very sturdy for outdoors. There's an Indian material called kharad. That's also, we've used that for outdoors.
Okay.
It's very, very hard, so it's very good for outdoors again. So it
Okay.
depends what you're looking for, and uh, how much um, how much you want to spend on it.
Right. I think for outdoors, we also need to make sure that all the stones have better quality in terms of weather conditions.
Yes, that's why Italian is not really the material to go outdoors. Yeah.
I have a question for you. Like, with all your experience in all of these industries, how do you think stone can be used, fostering its quality of versatility in the different fields?
Also have used stone for product design. So we've talked about urban design, we've talked about facade, we've talked about flooring, we've talked
Mhm.
about, we've also talked about, like, how it's getting used in furniture, it's getting used for basins. So that
Yes.
thought you can use it across the board, when it comes to architecture and interiors and urban design mostly to do with streetscape.
Yeah.
And we've also used it in a home product design company called Amalgam, where we've used the stone with inlay, but the designs we've done are very modern, because
Yeah.
then it can come back in a modern way. And I think it's happening pretty much across the board now that inlay is coming back. So
Yeah,
we've
yeah.
also posters, trays. The options are just too many.
Unlimited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're using natural stone, you have color limitations. If you're using a composite stone, then you have a variety of colors also available. So I guess the variety is quite wide.
Great. I
Yeah.
think our entire session gave all the brief to all the people
So
in terms of the facades, outdoor stones, and the inlay work. You've summed up everything so well,
that's,
and
I hope
really
it.
very interesting. Anybody who needs to ask any more questions? Otherwise, we would like to wrap up. I think you've summed up everything so well.
That's great. I'm glad.
No, no, absolutely. Answering about all the residential stones, interior stones, and all sorts of lighting as well. We've covered lighting also.
I mean, for anything, lighting always plays an important role.
Right. No, I completely agree. You see any particular object or any product during the day, it looks completely different in the evening. And even, if it's white light or if it's warm light, everything.
That is the whole equation. Yeah, I mean, that's why you can design a really nice place, but if you don't pay attention to the detailing and the lighting, then
Yeah,
the mood setting won't come.
true, true. I
Yeah.
agree. Great. It was really nice to have you, Anika. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.